I was asked by a subscriber to tell the difference between airline flying and corporate flying. Well, before you get to that point, you got to understand how do you get to that point. So to get to that point, this is the process. First, you got to get your private pilot license. To get your private pilot license, you got to have a minimum of 40 hours. You got to have 20 hours instruction and 20 hours of solo. Very few people do it in 40 hours. The average is 60 hours because the plane's going to be broke, it's going to be bad weather. You're going to go up 2 steps, back a step, up 2 steps, back a step. So the first thing you have to do is get your private license. After you get your private license, you have to get your instrument rating. So there's technically 4 licenses: student, private, commercial, ATP, airline transport license. So after you get your private license, you get your instrument rating. To get that, you have to have 175 hours. So it's a lot more study and preparation, and that's your most important rating you'll ever do, is your instrument rating. That allows you to fly in the clouds and do approaches and things. After you get your instrument rating, then you got to get your commercial rating. The commercial rating is a very simple, easy rating. Most people do a commercial multi-check ride because when you do your commercial rating, you have to use a high-performance complex aircraft, over 200 horsepower. It's got to have retractable gear, and it's got to have a constant speed prop. So you might as well use a multi to do that and get your multi-commercial at the same time. So then your license is going to say commercial multi. At this point, you can get a job. You can get a job. Is somebody going to hire you? Very unlikely, because you have to have experience. You don't have the experience. So the best thing to do once you get your commercial multi is get your certified flight instructor. So you can teach, I'm sorry, the sinuses here just eat me sometimes. Get your certified flight instructor, get your certified instrument instructor, and get your multi-engine instructor. That looks better on your resume, and it's going to help you get more hours. Instead of you paying for hours, you can teach people and get hours. That's the main job of a flight instructor. He's trying to get hours to go to the airlines. He's not really interested in you. He's interested in you paying for his hours and money in his pocket. Most of these flight schools charge $50. When they charge $50 for instruction, they keep 30 of it and pay the instructor 20. When I was teaching, I told them, look, I want my whole $50. You're not taking part of my money, okay? So if you're paying $200 for the plane and $50 for the instructor, you're paying $250 an hour. When you get the multis, you can almost double that. So that's the way you get to that process. You got to get your private, you got to get your instrument, you got to get your commercial, you got to get your multi. You don't have to have a CFI, CFII, and MEI, but you're more marketable. It looks better on your resume. Plus, it's going to help you get hours. Once you get to that point, you got your commercial, multi, CFI, II, MEI. Then you got to market yourself. Go around to every airport and put business cards on the walls. Start teaching. Get a flight school and start teaching. If you go to a flight school and teach seriously, you can easily get 500 hours in a year. I've been to flight safety 6 times. Every time I go, there's somebody in my class with a commercial, with 275 hours and 10, 20 hours of multi. Can you get hired with 10, 20 hours of multi? Yeah. And these days, yeah. Back when I was young, first started, no. But there's such a pilot shortage right now. All the flight schools are full because there's a pilot shortage. There's going to be a pilot shortage for the next 10 years. A lot of American pilots, they go to China to fly. Why? They can work a month, off a month. They can make 3 times the money, and their first $100,000 is not taxed. In China, they live in a gated community with their own schools and everything for their kids. So there's a big pilot shortage in America. So what you have to do first is get your commercial, multi, and your CFI, CFII, MEI. Then just go to a flight school and teach a year. If you can go to a flight school and get 500 hours in a year, then you're in a better shape to get a job. But the multi, you got to have the multi. The single time doesn't mean as much. Here's the single. 500 hours of single time is this. 100 hours of multi is this. Even if you have to go in with other people and buy 100 hours of multi, and then you have that on your resume, commercial, multi, CFI, II, MEI, 300 hours, 100 hours of multi. Now you're more marketable. When you get that to that point, you need to send out 100 resumes to everybody you can. There's 10 websites, ProPilot, FindAPilot.com, PilotCenter.com. There's a bunch of them. You can go on those websites and they'll tell you who's hiring, who's not hiring. There's a list of 100 people hiring. You send every one of those people a resume. Professional resume, not a goofball resume that your little sister made in the kitchen. You need to go to a professional person that does professional airplane resumes, okay? Most of the time, your resume is looked at for 5 seconds and it goes in the trash. What they're looking at when they look at your resume, do you have a multi, CFI, CFII? Do you have 100 hours of multi? If you got that, you go to the top. If you got 10, 20 hours of multi, you go to the middle. If you've got one, you got to have at least 10 hours of multi to do your check ride. You're going to go over here. So the more, if you got 200 hours of multi, you are golden. So that's what your goal is. Commercial, CFI, CFII, multi-engine instructor. Because if you get your multi-engine instructor and you start teaching people, then you're building multi-hours and you're not having to buy it. But if you can go to the bank and borrow the money to buy 100 hours of multi-time, you're golden. Because here's what happens. You look on these websites, requirements, 1,000 total time, 500 multi. Oh, I don't have that. Well, guess what? You don't have to have that. Because here's what happens. Let's say Joe Blow Airlines is a 135 Airlines, and they have 50 Learjets. And they just fly people. You call them up. I want to go to Los Angeles. Okay. It's going to be $12,000. You pay them $12,000. They fly you there. Those people are short people. They need pilots. The chief pilot has the authority to lower those minimums to hire people. You're being hired is the co-pilot, is the flight instructor. So you're not going to be the pilot. So he can lower those minimums to get you a job because they need people. Now, here's what happens. Those companies have allotted time at Flight Sim. They got 1 month, twice a year. If they use it, great. If they don't use it, they lose it. You just can't hire somebody, a Flight Sim, I'm sending a guy over. That's not the way it works. Flight Sim is busy. SimCom is busy. All of those places are busy. You have to reserve that months in advance. So the chief pilot asked the secretary, okay, we got training in 2 months. How many people we got lined up? 30. Ooh, that's good. 3 weeks before, how many people we got lined up? 20. A lot of people dropped off because they went somewhere else. The first person that will hire you that's reputable and not a goofball, you need to go. You need to go, okay? A week before training, the chief pilot asked the secretary, how many people we got signed up? 8. Now, he's going to say at this point, You get on the phone and you find everybody that's got a commercial multi. If they will show up, you let them show up because they need pilots. Because you're going to be the co-pilot anyway. You ain't going to get near that left seat. You're not going to get near it. But if you're teachable and you get hired and you can pass that training, then you're going to be in the right seat and you're going to start getting hours and you're going to learn. But at that point, you're making good money to be the co-pilot and you're going to be learning every day. So you got to get to that point before the words airline or corporate pilot comes out of your mouth. Don't even let those words out of your mouth until you get your commercial, at least 25, 50 hours of multi. 100 hours of multi is better, but 200 hours of multi is the gold standard to get a job. You would be better off going to your mom and dad. The bank of mom and dad is the best bank in the world. The only bank better than the bank of mom and dad is the bank of grandma and grandpa. And if you have to go to them and say, Grandma and Grandpa, I got a commercial pilot license. I need multi-time. Can I borrow $10,000? Can I borrow $20,000? If you do that and you take a month and you get 200 hours of multi, you just jumped over everybody. You've jumped over 100,000 people to get a job. So when you look on these websites, and there's hundreds of them hiring. You gotta have 1,000 total time and 500 multi. That's not the case. They have to publish that. That's not the case. Now, back to corporate or airlines. The first person that will get you in a class to train you, you need to go. If they're not a goofball airlines. You know, like I said in my other video, I went to training on a couple of places and I found out they were complete goofballs. We get to training, there's no hotel, there's no accommodation, there's no nothing. Any problem you have when you're dating somebody, when you get married, it's going to be 10 times worse. Same thing with the airline. If you go day one, they don't have any record of you. They don't have you a hotel booked or nothing. That's a big red flag. When your instructor comes to class every day with a hangover all disheveled, that's a big red flag. Okay? The first reputable airline or 135 operation or corporate. Now let me say this. If there's a rich guy, if there's a doctor or a lawyer and he has a little twin, he can't fly. He doesn't have the hours. He can't get on insurance. If you don't have the hours, you can't get on insurance. Just because you have a commercial multi and then you call the insurance company and you got a Baron, well, guess what? You got to have 1,000 hours of total time, 300 hours of multi to even get on insurance. And then it's going to be high. So you're bound by the insurance company. Just because you got a commercial license with 25 hours of multi, it doesn't mean you're going to FedEx, because you're not going to FedEx, okay? You're going to be a co-pilot in a bottom feeder place. You're going to work 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. You're going to be gone for 2 weeks. Now, that's fun. When you're 20, 25, 30, that's fun. When you get 45, 50, that's not fun. But that's the world of it. Now, if you're flying for a rich doctor or a lawyer and they got a little twin and they're paying you, that's Part 91. The rules are not as restrictive. If you're flying for the airlines, that's Part 121. That's very restrictive rules. If you're flying for one of these places like Wheels Up or NetJets, that's 135. Those guys work a week on, a week off. 10 days on, 10 days off. It's just whatever you work out with your schedule. So that's the difference. If you're flying cargo, you know, that's I think that's 141. I'm not up on all that, but it's different. Now, some of these commuters, they need pilots. And just like the scenario I said before, if you got a commercial, multi, CFI, CFII, MEI, and you got 100, 200 hours of multi, they're hiring you. They will hire you. Don't believe it when it says 1,500 total time, 500 multi on a website. That means nothing. Don't just look past that. Listen to Glenn, okay? If you get on with one of those, that's great. Now, the difference with flying for the airlines, you're going to go to the same 20 airports. You're going to work 4 days on, 3 days off. 4 days on, 3 days off. You're going to go Atlanta, Nashville, Little Rock, Dallas, Atlanta. That's going to be your route. You're going to do it every day. You're going to get in a plane. It's already in the FMS. But that's good flying. See, you can only fly 1,000 hours a year. In 10 months, you're going to get your 1,000 hours. You can only fly 1,000 hours in a year. So you're going to have 2 months you can't fly. But guess what? You're still going to get paid. You're going to fly 1,000 hours in a year as the co-pilot. After 1,000 hours, then you can be the captain. You're not just going to jump over there and be the captain. You got to go to captain training. It's a couple of weeks. It's intense training. You got to pass the check ride. But if you're flying for the airlines, even Delta or United, you got to fly for the commuters 2, 3, 4 years. Get 1,000 in the right seat. Get 1,000, 2,000 in the left seat. Then you can go to, you're not just going to get your commercial and call up Delta. Can I come in and work tomorrow? That's not the way that works. You got to pay your dues. When I was young, paying your dues was this big. Nowadays, paying your dues is this big. It's a lot easier to get on. If you get on with the airlines, it's structured. It's really better. The time is better. You're getting multi-time in the bigger airplane. The mecca that everybody's going for is FedEx and UPS. Why? A FedEx pilot goes to work at 4. He flies somewhere. He sits on the ground 2 hours and he flies back and he's done. The main job of a FedEx pilot is trying to figure out how not to fly. You got 6,000 pilots. Number 1, he flies 20 hours a month. Number 6,000, he flies 80 hours a month. So because it's seniority, you get on the computer every month and you make a bid. The number 1 guy, he gets the best schedule. The bottom guy gets the worst schedule. Most of these airlines, they lose 50 people a month, can't pass for medical. Then you got retirement. So it's always, this is leaving, this is going up, this is hiring. So it's going up. Your seniority number is everything. If you piddle around at mom and pop flight school for 3 or 4 years getting hours, and another guy borrows $20,000 from his grandma and grandpa, gets 100 hours, and gets a job in 3 months, and you're still at mom and pop flight school, piddling, getting hours, that guy's way ahead of you. So he's going to be way up the seniority chart when you get in because you was at mom and pop flight school getting 25 hours a month. He's going to be way up to seniority. Now, guess what? When the economy gets bad and people get furloughed, guess who gets furloughed first? The bottom of the seniority chart. Your objective is to get up that seniority chart as quick as you can. But first, you got to get on a seniority chart. So time is of the essence. While people are hiring, you need to get your license, get your hours, and do it. If you have to work at the 7-Eleven at night to get money, to save up, to buy 100 hours of multi, it's the best investment you ever made because you need to get stable and get up that seniority list. Now, flying for the airlines, it's a great job. You got an army of dispatchers, mechanics, support group. You come there, you get a packet, everything's done for you. Weight and balance done, power settings done, routes done, everything's done. When you fly 135 for NetJets or Fly Exclusive or one of these little guys, You're in a little corporate jet. You're going somewhere different every day. Go, 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 go. The experience is better because you never know where you're going. You're going to go to 300 different airports in a year. If you fly for the airlines, you're going to go to the same 25 airports. Same route, same 25 airports. That's great. But if you go to one of these companies like Wheels Up or NetJets that have 75 corporate jets, and you're just going all over the United States, crisscrossing all the time, that's way better experience. It's better weather, more flying, more airports, and it looks good on your resume. So when you go to FedEx one day, they got this guy. He's got 3,000 hours in corporate jets. He's been everywhere. Then you got this guy. He's been to the same 25 airports in a bigger airplane. That looks a little better. The airline job for the commuter looks a little better. But you're going to have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 hours before you go to FedEx or UPS, depending on the pilot need and the economy. The best job, in my opinion, is a job with a big company, Home Depot, trying to think the big place in Memphis, AutoZone. I applied for AutoZone for 20 years before I finally got a call back. And I finally got a call back. But then I didn't get the second call. But that's a better job because you're flying a nice big corporate jet, a Falcon 2. International Paper, that's who I was thinking of in Memphis. International Paper. They got a Falcon 2000. You can take off from Memphis and go to Paris. AutoZone has got a Challenger jet. There's 5,000 AutoZones. That plane goes to the different AutoZones. Walmart, at one time they had 40 Learjets. Every morning they take off and they go to a Walmart and they come back, which is a great job. That's the job you want because you're not going to be up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's fun when you're young and you're getting your hours and experience, but that will wear on you. It will hurt your eyes. It will hurt. I got tendinitis in this ear right now. Now, the reason I got it, because we did a rapid descent one day. But you need to get on with the first person who will hire you. If the airlines hires you, great. If Wheels Up hires you, great. If Fly Exclusive, if you get choosy, I want to fly with this guy, you're going to be left out. You need to get with the first person you can so you can start getting hours. Multi-hours are golden. So that is your objective. Now the difference, the airlines, same 25 airports. Corporate, you're going to go somewhere different every day. Every day. You may make 3, 4, 5 stops a day. And when you're young, you don't know the definition of being tired when you're young. That's the difference between corporate flying and the airlines. The first person that will hire you and get you in a class. Now, when you get to that class, you got to study. When you get to that class, they're going to give you a stack of books like this. Don't get frustrated by that. Don't think you got to learn all that. They're going to give you a little book with the limitations of the airplane. Gear speed. How much luggage can you put in the back? You need to memorize that. They're going to give you another little book, memory items. What do you do when you take off and the engine quits? Well, you got to do the memory items. You need to memorize that. They're going to give you another book, general knowledge of the aircraft. You're going to take these 3 books and that's what you're going to learn. This stack of stuff over here, you're going to set it in the corner of the hotel room and set your Pringles potato chips on top of it. You're not going to stress over that. I see people in class when they get that stack of books, they're defeated right then. I take them to the side. Look, This is what you need to learn right here. Now, when you go to training, don't get frustrated. So you need to learn these three over here. Don't get frustrated with that. If you get hired on somewhere and they say, okay, your training is in 4 weeks. This is the plane you're going to train on. You need to, you can go on eBay and find the books for that. You can call around and ask somebody, I'm going with ABC Airlines. I'm getting trained on this airplane. Do you have the flight safety materials? Go ahead and learn it. Don't start with this. Learn these three over here. Because when you get to school, it's called drinking from the fire hose. They're going to shoot knowledge at you. So the more you have down before you get there, the better off you're going to be. So that's the difference between the airlines and corporate. It's whatever you like. But you can't be choosy while everybody's hiring. Because if the economy goes bad, the bottom people are the first to go. The first person that's a good airline that'll get you in a school, that's where you go. Don't be choosy, okay? If you have a question, send me an email, call me on the phone, send me a text. Glenn, what do you think about this airline? Glenn, what do you think about this airline? I'm going to tell you the good and the bad. Glenn is not going to lie to you. He's not going to sugarcoat you. He's not going to clickbait you. I'm going to be honest with you. I want you to succeed and make it. But you got to be smart about it. I'm going to tell you something else. You got to be serious about your check rides. If you fail your private check ride or you fail your instrument check ride, you have taken this and moved it down here to this. You're not going to be as marketable. So you got to take your check ride serious. When the chief pilot says, we need pilots, and there's a stack of resumes, they're going to look on here. DUI, gone. Failed check ride, gone. 2 failed check rides, gone. So you limit your possibilities. You got to take your check ride serious. When I send someone to a check ride, I put them in the airplane before the check ride. We fly the airplane to where the examiner is. I take that student and let him meet the examiner. And I let them talk. He wants to help you. He's going to tell you what's on the check ride. I let them two sit there and talk. That way, he's more comfortable with the examiner. The examiner is going to say, this is my expectations of you. We're going to do this, 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 this. I'm going to ask you about this, 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 this. Then you know what to study. I use the same examiner. I take that student and I put him with people that just took the check ride. Tell them what is going to be on this check ride. Then I put them with 2 or 3 other flight instructors and let them ask them questions. When my people go to a check ride, they don't fail. They're ready. My examiner, he knows what he gets when he gets a student from Glenn Wimpy. He already knows. They're going to be professional. They're going to be safe. They're going to talk on the radio correct. They're going to run that checklist correct. They're going to make decisions correct. You're not going to get a goofball. You only have to make 70% on that check ride. Now, if you miserably fail some things, he's going to let you do 1 or 2 things over. But if you get in there and you're lost, you're done. He's going to stop the check ride. If you can't make it through that oral, you might have a 3-hour oral test and a 2-hour flight test. You got to make it through that oral test first. If you think this is a check ride like when you go get your car driver's license, it's not. You got to be serious about your check ride. You got to go in there and pass that check ride. If the mom and pop guy at the flight school or your instructor says, oh, well, there's going to be a FAA audit in your check ride. No, never do a check ride with a FAA guy there. You will never pass it. Bob Hoover and Chuck Yeager together could not pass a check ride with a FAA guy standing over here like this. He's not going to pass you. If you're in control of your check ride, you're in control of your training. If you get bad advice, we got a new DPE and the FAA is going to be there monitoring. Oh, it's going to be good. You're going to like it. No, they're setting you up for failure. Never do a check ride with the FAA or with the FAA president. You say, I don't want to do it. I want to schedule another time. If you got to wait another 4 weeks, it's better than to have a failed check ride. You have a failed check ride on your resume. It's not the kiss of death, but it's the handshake of death. So be in control of your check ride. Bad instructor, firing. FAA on the check ride, no. Well, I got to wait 4 weeks to do it. Then wait 4 weeks. Always listen to Glenn. Glenn is your friend. Glenn is on your side. I was asked, what's the difference between the airlines and corporate? I mean, do you like chocolate cake or do you like carrot cake? Carrot cake has its advantage, chocolate cake has its advantage. But it's both cake. Both are great. The first person that gives you a piece of cake, you take the cake. Don't say, oh, I don't want that cake. I want a different cake. I want to wait. Well, you might not end up with no cake. And you might end up getting 2 bites of cake and have the cake taken away from you. So get your commercial, multi, CFI, you got to have multi-hours. If you have to buy it, buy it. 100 hours is great. 200 hours, you're golden. You're golden. Send resumes, send out 100 resumes. It's got to be a professional resume. It can't be a mom and pop goofball resume. Send them out. The first person that's a good, reputable company. If you get a offer for training, text me, call me. Glenn, I got this offer for training from this guy. No. I got an offer. Yeah, you need to go to that. You need to study. I'll help you get the study materials. I had an extensive library of training materials on 30 airplanes. I gave it all away when I moved to the Philippines. I just gave it away. So be smart. Be serious about your check ride. Be choosy who you pick. But you're going to get a lot of good offers. And don't get an offer and cancel that offer for another offer, because then you get blackballed. Because the aviation world is a very small world. If you're jumping, they're not going to hire you, because when they train you, it costs $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to train you. They're not going to train you. Well, I'm not spending the money on this guy. He's going to stay 3 months and leave. When you get training, you sign a contract for 1 year. You have to stay there for a year. If you leave, then you got to pay for that training. So you got to choose wisely. You want to ask other people and get other people's advice. Now, you can get a lot of bad advice, but I'm not going to give you bad advice. So I was asked, airline versus corporate, that's the answer. Please like, subscribe, get your friends to like, subscribe, and make comments. What do you want to know about? Send me a message and I'll make a video. Thanks.